Hello, everyone. On today's episode, we have a student who went through cancer at the young age of 17. She's a sophomore, 20-year-old studying criminal justice. Today, we're going to talk about a little bit about her experience and how has it affected her into her college years. Please welcome Nailah Johnson. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm all right. So, can you give us a little bit of background of your story?
So basically when I was 17, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. It was like in March of 2023 is when they diagnosed me. It pretty much started from there was like this lump on my neck, which was a tumor, but at the time it was a lump to me. I didn't know what it was, and I played trumpet, so my mom thought, like, we thought it could have been from like just playing my instrument too much and my neck could have swollen up. So it was on that Monday when we saw it, so we were like, on that Thursday, if it's not gone away, we would go to urgent care. So we ended up going to urgent care, and like, I'm sorry, and the doctor walked in, she looked at it, was feeling on it, and like the look of concern on her face scared me, and she like said she would be right back. She walked out the room and then came back and was like, so we think it's a tumor, we don't know if it's cancerous or not. So after they said that, they set me up for a CT scan, I believe that's what it's called. And they did a scan on it, and it came back that it was cancerous. But at the time, we didn't know that it was thyroid cancer. We just thought it was in the tumor. So then after that, they sent me to the cancer center at UMMC in Jackson, Mississippi. And they did a more like in-depth, they gave me like a radiation pill and did a more in-depth scan. And they saw like it had completely like taken over my thyroid and everything. And it was a stage 4. So this, like, I have been battling cancer without even knowing it. Because I really didn't have any symptoms besides like I gained a lot of weight. Like, for the life of me, I could not gain weight at all. But like I went from like 90 some pounds in junior year of high school to 125. So that was like the only symptom I had. So that's why I never really like was concerning or anything. But after that, they did a biopsy, and pretty much where they had to stick like the needles, in your neck and pull out samples is definitely torture. Would not recommend doing a biopsy.
0 out of 10, don't recommend.
I was in there, they were holding me down, bro. I tried to run. After that, they sent me to a ear, nose, and throat doctor, and they did more like blood tests. And she said I'm very lucky because now this sounds weird, and it's like a lot of people don't believe me when I tell them this, but the doctor literally said that I'm lucky that it didn't enter my bloodstream. She said that could have been the main reason why I didn't have any symptoms of like feeling like sick and down, like any other like symptoms any other cancer like patient might have. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen like like, how they be in the hospital all the time, like feeling sick. I didn't have any other symptoms. She said that's because it didn't enter my bloodstream. So she was like, I got really lucky there. And that's also the reason I didn't have to do chemo. But from there, she wanted to do like a surgery to remove my thyroid and then any like tissue that still had any cancer like surrounding it in my neck. And so she did the procedure, and I got to look at my thyroid in like a little cup. It was disgusting, but it was also really cool. Because it's like, what? It literally looks like a butterfly.
Really?
Like, it's because it's literally butterfly shaped. It's kind of cool.
It's like,
it's like
right below your neck, throat area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's literally like right here in between like your collarbones. And so after the procedure, I could not move my neck, my head at all. And like they thought I would need physical therapy afterwards because I was walking with like my shoulders like crunched up to my neck, like, and my head leaning to like the side. Like it was my mom said I scared her. It's like, okay. But like after a while, I ended up not doing the physical therapy because I really didn't want to. And after a while, like, I just returned back to normal. Because that's what the doctor said. She was like, you'll eventually like return back to normal. She was like, you just had the surgery, so you're protecting the area a little more. But she was like, after a while, you'll be fine. I had like these drainage like things, like little baggies like that I had to like drain out. And it was so disgusting. It was just like, it would fill up with blood, and it was just like tubes in my neck, like catching it. And one thing they had to keep me on was nausea medicine, because like the chances that I threw up, she told me my neck could rip open. Yeah,
not the thing you want to tell to a 17-18-year-old.
That's what I'm saying. It scared the crap out of me, mind you. They had me dosed up with morphine and oxycodone, because at first they stitched it, of course, which is why I still kind of have the scar. They said that it'll probably go away by the time I'm like 40 something. Yeah. But they said I could have done like steroid shots to help get rid of it easier, but I was like, nah, it's a battle scar. Like, I'm cool with it.
That's a good way to look at it.
So I don't really mind it. And, you know, it's just a chance for conversation. People ask me what happened here. A lot of people think I got into a fight. Somebody asked me if I was in a gang. I was like, no, I can't say
no,
bro. Just their faces whenever I'll be like, I had cancer.
I bet they're like, what?
Yeah,
like they're just like, yeah. I bet they don't know how to react. I mean, I don't even think I knew how to fully react whenever you told me at work. I was like, you had cancer? Because you were talking about it at work, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, she seems fine.
Yeah.
But I guess that's because it didn't attach to your blood system, which is really good.
That's what a lot of people think, like, oh, when you hear the word cancer, like, it automatically means terminally ill and you're going to die. That's not necessarily what it means. And I got really lucky that, for one, it didn't enter my bloodstream, and two, it was just my thyroid, so it's something that I can live without. Or not, I won't necessarily say live without, but they have a medicine to replace the function of it, which I do take it. It's levothyroxine, that's what they call it.
What's the function?
I have to take it every morning, and it basically just replaces the function of the thyroid. So it helps regulate my metabolism and my calcium. And then I also, on top of that, I do have to take Tums. So a lot of people don't know this, but the Tums, you know, it's obviously you can use it for, like, you know, stomach acid when you're having acid reflux, but it's also good for your calcium. It also helps with your calcium levels and everything. So if you have like low calcium or something, just pop a Tum. And
wow. Yeah. That's interesting. That's all I know it for is the acid reflux and the stomach issues. Because my stomach will be hurting. They're like, take a Tum. And I'm like, okay. But now we know calcium, if you have low calcium, take a Tum and it'll help you.
Yeah.
So how was it going back to high school? Or was it, like, what's the timeline?
So the timeline is, so we found out, like, it was the end of March. They wanted to do the procedure in April, but I was a junior in high school and I had my first prom coming up. So I asked them, I was like, could we delay it until after my prom? Because at the time, before I was kind of taught, like, to look at my scar as a battle scar. I was like, I don't want an ugly scar, like, going to prom, you know. But they said that was fine, so they delayed it until then, until March 2nd of 2023. That's when I had the procedure done. I was in the hospital for 3 or 4 days, and I would say being in the hospital really wasn't as bad, just because my mom and my dad were constantly, like, switching out. Like, so my mom would stay the night with me and my dad would be with me during the day. And as I was in the hospital, my dad went to a funeral at one day, and it was like someone on his mom's side who had passed away. And come to find out, all the women on my grandmother's side have all had thyroid cancer.
So it came from your dad's side. That's crazy. And, but, like, did it affect their blood system? No? They all had surgery. And all ended up on the same medication I'm on, the levothyroxine. And so, like, here we are thinking, like, this came on randomly, but it's just crazy how life works. Like, he went to that funeral and found out that information.
which was like, that's just, it was really scary. Like, I think I stayed there 4 days. After the fourth day, they let me go home, but I still had to have like those drainage things in just to keep like the fluid off of where they operated inside, which is crazy how that works, because it's like you would think like, blood is constantly running through your body, like, I don't know. I really could not sit here and explain it because I don't know myself.
I wouldn't either. That's interesting.
Like, God bless our nursing majors and our biology majors. Like,
yes. They know. I don't know how they know all that information about the body, because I don't think I could ever know, because that's insane.
Yes.
But so how quickly did you go back to school, or did you go back to school?
So with it being May 2nd, our school got out that next week, so I did not go back to school. But I was in band and theater at the time, and they do like kind of like a banquet at the end of the year. So I think I spent maybe 3 days at home with the tubes, and then the lady who did the surgery, she called us to her office and she removed the tubes and everything.
How was that?
That literally, she just pulled, I didn't feel anything. My neck, like, till this day, my neck is still numb right here.
Is that normal? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
like she just yoink.
Well, not yoink it, but like, imagine.
Just boom.
But like, she just slowly pulled it out, and it's like, it didn't hurt.
How long was it?
It was actually really long. It was like, so like the little tube part that was out, it was clear, and you could see like the drainage coming out, but on the inside was a like white foam, like looking like almost square, like rectangle long thing on the inside, and she just pulled it out. And when I looked at it, I said, I did not know that was in there.
No, that's crazy.
I don't know like how this work. If I can like send you photos of kind of like what I'm talking about if you want to, but
I kind of do want photos just to see.
Okay.
So yes.
And so she just took those out, and literally that same day, I said, Mom, I want to go get my nails done. Got my nails done and went to the banquet. Like, I was fine. I will say I was also in jazz band at the time, and we had like a little festival in Biloxi at the end of May. Kind of like, yeah, it was the end of May. And, I played trumpet in the band, and so she was just kind of telling me, like, she was like, be careful, like, playing your trumpet, because she was like, even though the stitches are out, the wound is healed, but, like, any, what do they call it? Any strain to the neck could possibly open it back up. So that scared me. So my band director, he was actually, like, really understanding. All my teachers were actually understanding about it. My band director the most, though, he was like, you're still a part of jazz band. This was unexpected. He was like, if you want to come on the trip, you can still come on the trip. And he was like, you can literally just sit in the set and pretend to play.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So that's what I did. And it was like, it felt really good for one to come back, and nobody made a big deal out of it. That was one thing I was kind of scared about, because I'm just like, I don't mind telling people, but it's just kind of like, I was already insecure about the scar before, like, I kind of grew to love it. I was already insecure about it, and mind you, like, it looked like, I'll send you photos of what it looked like after the surgery and what it looks like now, but, like, it was way more noticeable than this. And then, mind you, it was hot outside, so I couldn't exactly wear a sweatshirt to cover it up. So I was already insecure about the scar and everything, and just, like, I was insecure about a lot of things, but, like, literally nobody made it a big deal. And that made me feel great. I got a couple of questions, like, how was it, like, how did it go, like, and everything. But that was really it. It really wasn't hard, like, too hard readjusting back into that part. Because the band community, that's one thing I love about band community, is I feel like the band community is always such a family. And, like, they never really judge. Now, I would say going into my senior year, though, like, once I was back around everybody in school, it was definitely, like, a lot more attention on it, because, like, everybody was so nosy. They're like, oh my God, what happened? What happened? Like, what do they do? What do they do? Da, da, da. And, like, I told the story, like, I couldn't even count how many times I've told the story, like, within the first 2 weeks of senior year. But after that, like everything, it died down. By that point, it had been It had been 3 months after the surgery. And so my doctor was like, she took me off the thyroid medicine. She said, you're going to have to be off of it for a month. And then I was going to come back. They were going to give me another radiation pill and do another scan just to make sure all the active cancer cells were dead. Like, just to make sure they were not active and to make sure everything worked like it was supposed to. So with that part, like with taking a radiation pill, radiation is very harmful to other people. Like, if the radiation doesn't have anything in your body to latch onto, it can make you really ill, possibly kill you.
Oh.
Yeah, so like if you have like no like sickness or whatever like going on in your body or anything and it gets to you, that's why whenever, I don't know if you watch like these like doctor shows or whatever,
Yeah.
whenever they do an x-ray like in the emergency room, they tell everybody to step out the room except for the radiologist, and he's always wearing like that
the
vest.
big thing. Yeah, that's why, like, I think whenever I had to get an x-ray done on my foot, after I dropped the weight on it, they had to put the vest on me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, see, for me, they didn't have to do that because the radiation had something to latch onto, which was the thyroid scar tissue that was left over in my neck and the cancer cells. I had to quarantine from everybody for almost a week, which did take me out of school, but I really didn't struggle. All my teachers gave me my assignments, and you know everything's on computer nowadays.
Yes, so
I was low key. I was like, "Hey, a week from school,
not after COVID." Nope, not after COVID.
Dang it, COVID. Yes, I mean I was still fine. I mean that was really it. They did the scan and everything came back and it looked right. Like from that point, that's when they set me up with an endocrinologist. Basically with the endocrinologist, I had to see her every 3 months, and every time I saw her, they did an ultrasound on my neck just to look at everything in there. And then I would also get blood work done, and then when I saw her, but at the same time I was getting blood work done every 2 weeks, I believe. So like for the rest of my life, that's like every 3 months I have to go see endocrinologist, ultrasound, and then every 2 weeks I have to get blood drawn and everything for like the rest of my life.
So the blood drawn is to make sure nothing's there? Oh, wow.
And to also look at my THC levels, and it's another thyroid level, to make sure that the thyroid pill, the levothyroxine, is doing its job of replacing the function of the thyroid.
What happens if it's not?
My levels, if they have me on too high of a dosage, I will be hyperthyroid, which is extremely dangerous. Well, it's really dangerous either way, but hyperthyroid, basically like my metabolism will be working like too fast for my body. I cannot remember the side effects. I know one of them is like possibly you could go into like a coma. And it's like, you really have to like really do the research and look into it. I try not to because I don't want to scare myself.
Understandable.
But those are just kind of the side effects. And then if it's on too low of a dosage and I'm not getting enough, then it kind of sets me back to when I got diagnosed with the cancer. You know how I told you I gained a lot of weight?
Yeah.
Well, that's because your thyroid controls your metabolism. And well, the cancer was attacking my thyroid, which was slowing it down, which was slowing down my metabolism, which is why I gained all that weight. So I would obviously gain weight, and then this pretty much kind of the same side effects, like you could potentially go into a coma and just a bunch of other side effects. It's definitely really scary, a really scary thing. That's why it's important to, make sure you're keeping up with that. I know when I came to Southern, it definitely got a lot harder because, I'm seeing the doctors at UMC in Jackson because I'm from Clinton. And so having to try to drive from Hattiesburg down there, an hour and a half, that's a lot.
Every 3 months.
Yeah.
And then where do you get your blood drawn every 2 weeks there too? Or
yeah.
So every 2 weeks you're driving from here to Jackson.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a lot. Whew, and especially with gas going up.
Yes, especially with gas going up, I bet that's even more expensive.
Yeah, it most definitely is. That's why, I don't know if you noticed, at Chili's, you would barely see me some weekends. And, some Fridays, at one point I started asking for Fridays off just because, I don't have classes on Friday. And so, it was just easier that way. But, that's why I'll be missing a lot of work. It's definitely a lot, but it's like, to be alive though, because not a lot of people make it out. But that also, I think that takes me back to what I was saying. Like, whenever you hear the word cancer, it doesn't necessarily mean terminally ill, you're going to die. There are multiple, like, other solutions to it, depending on what kind of cancer it is. Obviously, there's no cure. Hopefully, we're getting closer and closer to a cure. But a lot of cancers, all you need is a radiation treatment, all you need is surgery, and sometimes chemo will take away, like, will kill the cancer, like, will get rid of the cancer. I read that about, because I looked at some people's, like, cancer stories, like, when I first got diagnosed, and it's like, when she walked in the room and told me, it's like my mom immediately started crying, but I wish they could see me, but like I just kind of sat there like looking at the wall, like,
oh my god,
because I didn't know how to react, like. And what's really funny is I did not cry once.
Wow.
Like, I did not cry once, and I might sound crazy or whatever. I don't mean to bring, like, my religion into this, but it's like, I'm Christian, like, I believe in God, and I honestly thought, I was like, I think maybe that was a sign from God that I knew I was going to be okay, and not to get too scared or too worried about it, to let him fight my battles for me. And so that's kind of like how I look at that, because I didn't cry. Obviously hearing that, I just kind of stared at the wall, and then here my mom was over here crying. She's calling everybody and everything. I was just like, Nene's not okay, guys. It was definitely, it was a scary moment for her. She she was acting like she had got diagnosed with cancer.
I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Like, that's her baby. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's something wrong with her. Like, I completely understand that. I'm surprised that you didn't cry. I feel like I would probably cry if I was in your shoes, but I mean, nobody's gonna know unless it happens.
Yes, yeah.
So, but I like that you just put everything to your faith and to God and everything like that, and let him take care of that for you. And like, what do you think? Because I know usually it's like a lesson that he puts for you to learn from this. Like, what do you think you learned from this?
It definitely gave me like a different viewpoint on life, because I used and it definitely humbled me. I'm not gonna hold you. I was a very cocky, egotistical person. I'm able to admit it. Some people still can't even admit that they are to this day. Some people still need to be humble. Anyway, that's not my business. But it kind of humbled me in a way that you can have everything you want and still have to face the struggles that other people go through as well. And it just kind of taught me that, like, no matter how good I think I am, how perfect I think I am, anything can always happen. Because, obviously you wouldn't expect yourself to, like, have cancer,
Yeah.
So that's why it was just kind of, like, unreal for me. And sometimes it is, like, sometimes I even forget, like, this is so bad, that I am a cancer survivor. And, like, that's just how, like, for me, it's just, like, that's how well I've moved on from it. But it does always sit in the back of my head. But it's, like, I'm able to, like, that's how blessed I am. Let me put it that way. Blessed I am because I'm able to still function normally, just like any other human being. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm still able to do anything anybody else can do. But it definitely taught me, like, no matter how good you think you have it in life, no matter how well you're prospering, like, things can still come out of nowhere and hit you hard. So just be prepared, Yeah. And obviously I wasn't prepared for something like that,
Of course.
Nobody can be.
Mm-mm.
It was definitely like, one thing I don't like to describe it as is a difficult time in my life. It was more of just like a setback, I would say. Because I've always been a very sick kid. Like, I have severe allergies. I have asthma. Anytime flu, like, it got cold outside, even in the summer, I'm sick. It's like, I used to tell myself, how do you get sick in the heat, bro? Like, what's going on? But, like, I've always been a very sick kid. I don't know. To me, like, and then, I left out a very, like, big part. Oh my God. So, before all of this, now, obviously, the cancer was at a stage 4, which means, if I had to guess, I had it maybe 6 months prior to finding out.
Didn't even know.
Didn't even know. 2021 through 2022, I was going through bad stomach issues. I mean, like in the emergency room, like complaining about stomach pain, and the only thing they could say was acid reflux, IBS. They even sent me to a gas the stomach doctor. We're just gonna call it the stomach doctor.
I know exactly what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I don't know how to pronounce it.
Me either.
That's okay.
But we're just gonna say the stomach doctor, you know. And like they did a endoscopy and everything. It's where they stick the tube down your throat with the camera, look in your stomach. Like they did everything like to look, but they could not find anything. And once we found the cancer and they removed it, my acid reflux and all that went away.
So it could have been there years.
Yeah,
before.
And so what my doctor explained to me, she was like, sometimes our body will find something else wrong to make us look even harder for the real issue. So my body like had like bringing on this random like acid reflux like issues, because like mind you, I used to get done with a football game because I was in band, like, you know, get done with a football game, I would get a whole pizza from Little Caesars, Dynamites, and a slushie, bro, and eat that up and I would be fine, like no acid reflux or anything. So when that happened, like the acid reflux was just so bad to where like I couldn't, like I wasn't eating at all, like I was only eating bland foods, you know, like it was just so bad, like. And when they took out the thyroid and, you know, did the process for the cancer or whatever, it just stopped. So, like, you know, now I'm able to, like, eat some of my favorite foods, like, from before. I will say, though, the acid reflux kind of stopped. One thing I'll eat now, but, like, not very fond of it like I used to be, is candy. It helped me stray away from candy.
Wow.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That's really weird.
Yeah, and it's like, and I won't eat hot chips as much anymore because I used to love me some hot chips. Oh my goodness, let me tell y'all, bro, it's crazy. But like, you know, I won't even like, my first like choice of chips used to be like something hot, and now it's like, you know, like it's not the hot fries, but it's still the Chester's brand. They're the chili cheese fries. I love those now. They're so good. It's just crazy how like, that's why I always tell people, like, you know, if something is going on and you're going to the doctor and they're telling you they can't find anything in that specific area, tell them to look elsewhere, because 9 times out of 10, that's your body letting you know that there's something even bigger going on within itself. I know this coworker at Chili's, I won't name her name, but she was having like, she said like these symptoms of where she was like passing out and everything, and like doctors could not figure out anything. Like they were doing all these neurological scans and everything on her head, and like MRIs could not figure out anything. And I told her, I said, well, and I said, in my experience, I'm not gonna tell you like, you know, go out there and be a doctor yourself, but in my experience, 9 times out of 10, if that's going on and they can't find anything in the area that is supposed to be in, there's something else going on. I said, tell them you want a full body scan done. Like, that's why it's so important to have health insurance. I know it's so hard with the way the world is right now, but it is so important to have some kind of form of insurance right now. Just because, like, I told her, I said, if you have insurance, do the full body scan. It'll be worth it. I promise you. And come to find out, she didn't have cancer or anything, but she was having thyroid issues.
Oh. Wow.
And so sometimes dealing with hypothyroidism, you can also pass out from it as well, because your thyroid is just not doing what it's supposed to. You know, like, obviously, you're not going to be able to live if your heart's not pumping. You like, you know, the heart, like, everything works together, and if one piece is missing, you know, it throws everything completely out of whack. And she was having thyroid, she had hypothyroidism, meaning her thyroid wasn't producing enough like it should have been, calcium like it should have been. So they put her on the same medication I'm on, which is the levothyroxine, and ever since then, she's been fine. She hasn't passed out or anything. Not to share her story for her, but I'm just giving like an example of, you know, if there's something wrong and they can't find anything in the area it's supposed to be in, it's probably something bigger going on. So that's why I always tell people to kind of look out for that, because it definitely can be scary, especially if you wait too late. Like if I wouldn't have walked in from practice that one day, it was after school band practice, and my mom looked at my neck and saw that tumor, like, ain't no telling how bad the cancer would have like spread or got, you know. That's also another thing. It's like when people pay attention to you in detail and they tell you something, and it might not sound like the best, like it might not sound like a compliment or anything, but it's just like if somebody tells you something and it sounds abnormal, go look into it, you know. Obviously not if they're saying, oh, your nose is ugly, like not like that, you know. But if they say your neck kind of looks, you know, lumpy, or your arms, you know what I'm saying,
something's off. Yeah, I get that. But how was your support system during this? I know you said your teachers were very supportive and there for you, but like what about like friends, or even now, like do people, like how does it affect you now, like post cancer?
I know during my friends were definitely very supportive. I mean, I'm laying in the hospital bed, they're in class, they're FaceTiming me, like, and talking to me. They were definitely very supportive. My family was supportive, too. You know, at the time, it was, you know, COVID, I think this is still a thing, but ever since COVID happened, you're only allowed 2 visitors, and so my mom and my dad were my only 2 visitors who could come see me. I know my theater group, they made me like a little basket of my favorite things. I told them I like to crochet, like they bought me a bunch of yarn, and they all like wrote these letters to me on like little colorful index cards, and I taped them all together, and I literally have them like sitting underneath my bed at home right now. Aww. I don't know if that makes me a hoarder, but I like to keep sentimental things like that. And definitely post cancer, like, you know, my mom, like my family is still a big like step and role into it. They still, you know, support me. Obviously it's not really that big of a like deal unless something flags in a scan when I go to a doctor's appointment or anything. But so far as right now, like, you know, everything's, I won't say back to normal, but everything's, you know, like going how it should be.
Yeah.
You know, my mom and my dad are always asking me, like, am I okay? I know, whenever I get sick, like, with a cold or the flu or something, like, you know, my mom is always like, let me do some research real quick. I'm like, Mom, like, I've been sick all my life. Like, we know this, Mom. Like, I'm fine.
This is normal.
This is
like
normal.
If I wasn't sick, this might have not been okay.
Right.
But like I'm sick all the time, Mom.
That's one thing about her. She's always, let me do some research. I don't know if you guys know the Mayo Clinic, but you know, they're really good healthcare professionals, so she's always on their page and everything. Like, I swear, it's crazy. Other than that, like my friends, my roommates that I stay with now, they're very supportive of it. You know, sometimes I will come to their room telling them, and one of my friends, she's actually a nursing major, so I kind of look to her as my nurse, you know. I was like, I know you don't know everything, but you know the basics. And so like, I think one time I came to her and I told her, I was like, it feels like my heart is like about to beat out of my chest. And she pulled out a oxygenator. They put it on your finger and it reads your heart rate and your oxygen levels.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't.
If you get a daily checkup, you know it's the little thing that they put on your index finger. You know exactly what they're talking about.
And then she pulled that out, and then she like put out her stethoscope and like was listening to my heart. She was like, "Doesn't sound like it's about to beat out of your chest." I said, "I don't want to name her name, but I said it's literally about to beat out my chest. I promise you, I do not feel good at all." So she was just like, "Just go in there, lay down, and like I'll check on you constantly." Like, you know, that's one thing I love to have is like, you know, living with people who actually care, you know. She was in my room like almost all night, like coming in there checking on me and everything, making sure I was okay. And you know, it's always good to have like even friends who support you like that, because it's definitely like a scary thing, because imagine like having to live alone and like, you know, you really don't know what to do other than call 911, and then you call 911, then they say it's not that big of a deal. Well, in the economy and the state of the world we are in now, it's like with insurance and everything, that 911 visit costed you almost like $2,000 for them to tell you nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a wasted trip, a waste of your time, you know. And so it's just kind of like, that's That's why I like having, like, you know, a support system that I live with, especially at least one of them's in the medical field. So
yes, that actually worked out perfectly for you.
That makes it better.
Well, I'm glad you have a good support system. That's definitely needed. Even after beating it, obviously it still has effects to you to this day. You have to get constant checkups, constant visits and scans and blood work and everything. But do you have anything to like say to those who may be going through a similar situation, like at a college level or even high school, how you were? Do you have anything else, like, do you have anything to say to them?
I would say it's definitely okay to be scared. Like, you know, not everybody's emotions are the same. Like, you know, I told you guys I kind of just sat there and stared at the wall, and I didn't even cry once. But, you know, that's just me, because it's just like I've never been told I had cancer before, you know, so I didn't really know how to react. But even if you react differently, even if it makes you cry, it makes you feel like out, like not wanted, or any feelings that you might get, like, talk to somebody, and I promise you it'll make you feel better. Just don't be afraid to ask questions, for one. And secondly, like, just know that in the end you will be okay. I'll keep it kind of like basic here. Like, if you believe in a religion or anything, like, just pray to whoever you pray to, and, you know, keep your faith, and, like, just know you'll make it out on the other end. Never, one thing I had to learn is do not have bad thoughts. Do not, like, let any bad thoughts take over. What I like to say is don't let the devil take over. You know, just don't let any bad thoughts take over your mind, because once those bad thoughts start settling in, I've actually read stories where people who have gotten diagnosed with cancer, and it was like either removable surgically or could have been a radiation treatment, have killed themselves because they let bad thoughts take over, which I probably shouldn't have been reading at 17 years old. But I did.
It's okay.
It was definitely scary. You know, just know, like, you'll make it out on the other end. Like, now, like, I could not complain about anything. Like, you know, obviously I'm still not perfect. I still have my struggles right now, but it's like struggles that anybody's having right now, you know. So it's just like the basic struggles. Like, so just don't like, whatever emotion you might have, let it out and feel it, but do not let the bad take over, because once the bad takes over, it just makes the whole thing even more scary for yourself, and especially for the people around you.
Well, it was nice talking to you. Thank you for sharing your story with us and spreading awareness about not just the thyroid cancer, but just cancer in general, how it's just not being ill. It's more than that. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for being here, and
thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so happy that you were able to tell me everything, because I know, like, ever since we've worked together, I was also curious, but I'm sure you've told the story 1,000,000 times. So, but I'm glad you were willing to tell it one more time for us and to spread that awareness. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope we catch you on the next one.